All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, once again with the AIW Wrap-Up Show. I believe that's what we're calling it now, the AIW Wrap-Up Show.
We're calling it the Wrap-Up Show, Pedro.
And what a wrap-up to an amazing weekend of wrestling, the JT Lightning Invitational 2016. What else can you say? What a hard-hitting, amazing weekend of wrestling. So much going on. Just hit some highlights for us of night one. You were there. You called all the action.
I'll tell you what, night one, this was a new thing for AIW. For the first time ever, 24 stars were involved in the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament, which left us with 12 matches on night one. Each one, the action never stopped. A dozen matches, back to back to back to back, it goes on. And they just kept coming. Billy Gunn was here. Stars from the past and from today and from the future. Little Guido. I mean, Dan the Beast Severn is here for crying out loud.
Speaking of Little Guido, come on in here real quick.
I'll get that beer in a second. Oh, you want a beer?
Oh, sure. Okay, thanks,
Thank
Guido.
you for having me. I appreciate it. We're the main part of the show right here.
All right, Guido, thank you for joining us here on the Absolute Wrap-Up Show.
Wait, hang on. Let's give one of these. How many mics you going to put my freaking face? Take it easy with that. Give him one of these. There you go. Now go ahead.
All right, Guido, tell us a little bit about your experiences on night one here.
Well, this is night two, right? I think we were on night two.
Yeah, we're only doing one wrap-up.
Oh, we're doing. Oh, this is one wrap-up.
You tell us about it all. You tell us about whatever you want to tell us about.
Well, I'll tell you, every time I come for this promotion, it's always a great time. Hell of a talent's on the show. I think the fans get their money's worth, obviously, and always a great time. So I had a very good time. First time I ever wrestled with a midget was tonight. I mean, that's something different. I mean, I did a lot of things in the wrestling business, but tonight I wrestled a midget for the first time. I enjoyed myself. I didn't get to win, which I don't like. I like to win matches, but it's always a good experience. AIW is always great. The fans are hardcore, and the good thing about the fans here, they know their guys, they know their characters, and they want to see real wrestling, and that's why we're here.
Well, and talk about, does being a part of the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament itself mean a little bit more to you? You've been in AIW multiple times, but being a part of this tournament, does that touch on a little bit on that for you?
Well, it does affect me a lot. I mean, we started wrestling for JT Lightning actually with Sabu, Rob Van Dam back in the early 90s. He was running his promotion for a long time, and he was one of the very few guys that we were able, because we were in ECW at the time, so we were able to wrestle for him, and that was because of Sabu and Rob Van Dam, and they had a good relationship with him, and we were able to do his shows when he was running them, and that's how I met him. That's actually how I met him. And we used to all come in a caravan and stuff. It was a real good time, and God bless JT Lightning, and I'm very happy that somebody does this. Somebody does a JT Memorial show. I think that's very great. He was always a great guy, and that's why we're all here.
Well, we appreciate you coming in as always. Thank you for joining Pedro and myself here on the Wrap-Up Show.
Well, I was passing by. I'm very happy to be here. You're doing a hell of a job at ring announcing. You're doing a great job. I don't know. You had a little problem with that guy at the last match, and there was a little confusion. What the hell was that all about?
It happens. The ring announcer never gets any respect around here. It happens. It happens. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Oh, I just spilled your beer. That's not very respectful.
Forget about the respect.
I know. It's all gone.
All right. Well, I got a full one, thank God. So
thank goodness.
We'll take this one.
All right, Little Guido, thanks again for joining us here at the Wrap-Up Show.
Thank you, sir.
JT Lightning, God bless you.
All right, and
so as we talk about guests and everything that have been here this weekend, Little Guido did touch on it. One of them, of course, Swoggle was here.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, part of the AIW. In fact, one of his first shows on the Independents.
I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that I would share a ring with Swoggle. Just never, ever thought it would happen.
Are you coming in here? Here we have coming in now. So a lot of people who don't know. We thought we had somebody next, but now we don't.
Look at this.
Oh, well. Again, we talk about the big name guests that were part of the weekend. What about this one right here? Not only was he a part of night one and night two after advancing in the tournament, but we, of course, had our very own Art of Wrestling podcast held live for the fans. Just talk about the weekend in general here, Colt Cabana. How was it for you?
Which one am I talking into? I just want a double. I want a double. Look at this. What a feeling that this is.
Is this a familiar thing for you?
Almost, sadly. Listen, Yeah, well, I doubled him up. Guido's behind the camera, if you don't know. He's
directing.
Yeah, he's the producer of this segment. They would know on the DVD that I said what I was looking forward to was to wrestle Billy Gunn. I wanted Billy Gunn to be fair, I wanted Billy Gunn in the finals, but I got him in the second, and he proved a little too deadly because he nailed me with that famouser. One of the craziest famousers I've ever taken in my life, craziest moves ever given to me, and I said it on here. I was looking forward to Billy Gunn, and maybe I should have been looking forward to actually winning and not just Billy Gunn.
Colt Cabana, and a rare starstruck moment maybe in the match?
Not starstruck, just, you just don't realize how fucking big Billy Gunn is.
He's a large man.
He's fucking huge. Huge. People don't realize this. Maybe they're starting to realize this. He's a large man. And I thought he was the size of like a Matt Sydal or, or a Ricochet or an Alex Daniels. No, he's like Andre the Giant, but jacked. Had I known that, I would have been able, been ready. Not starstruck. I've been around a lot of famous people in this world.
Very popular podcast, yeah.
Yeah, I've had, over 300 people on the show. So I don't go too gaga, but it's just the size of that man. He's huge. Huge.
Colt, if I could interject here for one moment. JT Lightning was a man that was very influential on your very early career.
Influential?
Influential, yes. It's been a long weekend. Influential on your early career. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with JT Lightning and what this tournament means to you on that level.
JT Lightning reached out to me and a couple other guys very early in our careers. I would say 2001, we first started coming to Cleveland All Pro Wrestling, and we consistently came to this area because JT was one of those guys, and it's nice that it's now spawning off with AIW in an era where guys just kind of booked whoever was just around on the shows. JT was a guy who always wanted his shows to be better and was looking for those young outside talents to bring in. Before anyone was, really, and not before anyone was doing that, but it wasn't a popular thing, and he brought guys out, he was like myself and Punk, but even I remember like later when we were on the shows, it was like Julio De Niro and Mike Judas and all these guys from like the East Coast and just different guys from different places, always just trying to shake it up and have different shows and just be different, and it said a lot about him, and obviously it says a lot about, it's the same kind of thing that AIW is now doing, in my instance, over 15 years. Maybe almost 15 years later. So it's really cool. And you can tell not only the influence that he had on me, but he's having on the Cleveland scene.
All right, well, Colt, thank you for joining us here on the wrap-up show. Best of luck, and I'm sure we'll see you here in AIW very, very soon.
And a great mohawk.
And a great mohawk. Yes.
He
did have a great mohawk. Super spiked mohawk. Yes, it was very great.
And it was the first time I ever saw like a normal dude with like a mohawk, I think.
A normal guy with a normal, like very well-paying job with a super mohawk like it, yes.
And just a punk rock mohawk motherfucker. He was cool as shit, man. I love JT.
All right. Thank you, Colt Cabana.
Well, as I was saying here, on night one, originally scheduled to compete, we were actually going to have a match, one-on-one singles competition between the members of Hot Sauce Entertainment.
Okay.
Found out Tyson Duke's unable to make it to the show. Stepping in at the last minute is our next guest here, the Bone Collector, they call him, Dominic Garrini, actually a student in the AIW school. Talk a little bit about your first experience here in the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament.
I mean, coming yesterday, setting up the ring, it was really one of those things where I thought I was just going to be a spectator. And right before the show started, John Thorne came up to me and said, hey, you ready to go? He's like, we need somebody for Hot Sauce. And obviously, looking at me, I'm a fight or flight kind of guy. I'm ready for any fight at any time. So it was going right in there and taking Hot Sauce Tracy Williams on. Just kind of trying to give everybody a little something different, a little feel of what the Bone Collector can do.
Yeah, not a lot of experience in one-on-one competition for yourself, and immediately you're taking on Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. I know you're ready for a fight at any time, but that's quite the fight you picked.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fighting my whole life. The last 8 years of my life has been a fight, whether it be, on the MMA mats, the jiu-jitsu mats. So it's one of those things where you kind of got to come ready at any time, I've always traveled with, my jiu-jitsu gi or my board shorts in the car, ready to compete at any time. And the same thing yesterday, as Dave the Potato, who I had to unceremoniously throw on his head earlier today, walked right through our shop, but it's okay. It's one of those things, and I respect Tracy, and that's why it was a true honor to compete against him yesterday, and that's what we did. I felt like we went in the ring and we competed. We put on something a little bit different, and, I left it all in there and, nothing else to leave.
Yeah, things went quickly for you. You probably get that excitement. Hey, I get to be a part of the tournament. And then you're like, hey, I got to figure out how I'm going to beat this guy. Anything you could take away, your first experience here, going, into next year, looking forward to this tournament?
Oh, man, if I get the opportunity, next year to be in the JT Lightning Memorial Tournament, it's such an honor. Obviously, I've started training very recently. I've known of JT and everything JT's done for the scene of Cleveland and independent professional wrestling. So truly, it was just an honor to be there, and it would even be a big honor to come back next year. Hopefully wrestle Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, or maybe even take someone on like Dan the Beast Severn. Another one of my heroes from the MMA/pro wrestling game.
All right, Dom, well, thank you for joining us here on the wrap-up show. I think we got another guest coming in right now, a man that made his return to AIW.
Yeah.
Returning not just to AIW, but returning from injury, Eric Ryan, former Absolute Champion and former Tag Team Champion. Come on in here.
Right, so a part of night number 2.
Wait. Before we get started, let's try to keep this quick. Shannon, Gary, and the rest of Smart Mike Video would like to go home.
Me too.
As soon as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But a part of night number 2, besides the tournament, we had a couple of Pick Your Poison matches, and you were the poison chosen by All Ego Ethan Page to take on Josh Prohibition.
All Ego, he understands champions. He understands people that can win matches. And unfortunately, I dropped the ball today. Josh was just the better man.
Yeah, it was. Now, how far in advance did you know you're going into this match?
About 4 hours before bell time.
Wow, 4 hours. And Eric, not only was it the surprise that you were going to take someone's place, but I believe this is your first match back from a serious injury. And I know I seen you backstage. You kind of had your head down. You were really trying to focus on the match. Tell us a little bit about the butterflies you were feeling before this big matchup.
It was very nerve-wracking. It's been a long time, and I was afraid I'm just going to re-injure myself. And you know what? Sometimes you got to test the water. You got to go balls deep.
And a couple of those moves, I was cringing on the outside for you because I knew the injury you had. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Eric Ryan?
It's all right. Daddy don't get hurt anymore.
Daddy don't get hurt. Look at this kid. Look at this. Look at this.
My goodness.
Wow.
Shannon, Gary,
Everybody,
I love you
all
guys.
right, love you. Wow. Wow. Whew.
He's happy to be back. We're happy to have him back.
I'm getting a little happy for other reasons.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple more special guests. DJ Z, come on in here, man. Oh, we're gonna go with Alex. Alex Daniels is coming in here.
Here is another young competitor. He comes into the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament, advances on night 1, makes it into one of the 3 Fatal 4-Way matches, and then he makes it all the way to the finals in a triple threat match. Alex, you don't look like you're feeling too well. I don't know. Maybe Greg wants to speak for you.
I don't.
You're
the ring announcer. I'm pretty sure you watched every single match. And I'm sure your memory is not that bad. Because for the most part, you remember everyone's nicknames. But you saw what happened. You saw they get dropped on my head.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't look great.
Obviously.
Hey, what up?
And it's the third member of this triangle of passion.
As we recap the entire evening, we had another surprise match. Candice and Johnny Gargano needed fill-in. They opened up an open challenge of tag teams, and we got to see the reunion, so to speak,
tag team
of Hope and Change with Veda Scott and Greg Iron.
Tonight was we lost. I'm going to say we lost. Alex did get all the way to the finals. He was robbed, highway robbery. I feel like Veda and I were robbed. But you know what? At the end of the day, we have each other. Please, we don't need you right now. All right.
So that's incredibly unprofessional. That man works on television. He knows better than that.
Okay. So right now, 1, 2, 3, we have each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, Greg, you are essentially now without the Iron Curtain, but it looks like you're building yourself quite the little AIW family here. Is this something we can look forward to moving forward?
I mean, I'd like to think so. I mean, it's,
It feels like a family.
I feel like, I always knew in my heart.
It feels really natural to me. It feels like a family.
You feel that down there?
What's the
real?
I think we've got some other guests here that we need to get to.
Is this getting a little awkward for you, Pedro?
Yeah. Let's bring. Hey. Wow.
Oh. Well,
you.
Yeah, it's over.
it's.
handicap guy at a time here.
Things are.
It's getting real over here.
Yeah.
Not,
Pedro, only our second wrap-up show, and everybody wants to be a part of it.
I know. And like the guest list is just growing and growing over here.
Well.
Two men that.
No.
Stop growing at some point.
Well, I was talking about
it was.
Yeah. Okay. Bad.
We are
wordplay.
joined now.
Yeah.
though,
Here we go.
by another tag team. Now, one half of this tag team did compete on night number 1 of the JT Lightning Invitational. Unfortunately, picking up a loss, though it was to Billy Gunn who advanced.
He got paid to sit around and eat pizza, which is bullshit.
Yeah, so Brian Myers loses to Billy Gunn. But on the next night,
The one Billy Gunn.
Yes, man.
he picks up
Rockabilly.
his tag team partner in Swoggle here. And you guys got to take on the full-blooded Italians, as it were. Swog, your first foray into AIW. You go ahead and take that mic if you want.
Where you talk, because I'm eating.
You got a lot of pizza grease on the mic now. Is that going to affect the next guest?
Okay.
Okay.
You're fine. You put that cake on.
Or that. We could do that.
It was fun. No, I loved it. This is a bucket list place for sure. It was definitely on the bucket list for time after, and it was fun.
I like just hearing Guido's theme music and singing it, and then I was like, oh, shit, now I got to wrestle.
We were sitting in the corner, and you go to me, we're wrestling Little Guido. I go, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I made some friends. I made some new friends.
Picked up the
Donst.
win.
Picked up 2 wins.
We have a finisher, but we don't have a team name yet. We're working on that.
We got to work on that.
Yeah.
You guys have good mind. You guys have about one mind between the two of you. You guys should be able to think of something.
You can't make that diss and stutter while you say it. It just defeats the whole
I was
purpose.
chewing my pizza still. I'm hungry.
Just throwing it out there.
But no, it was fun. It was a ton of fun.
I think it was a good start for the little guy and the medium-sized guy.
I think I'm very excited. Hopefully I get to come back very soon.
And I am coming back because I'm awesome, so whatever. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, wrap it up.
Raymond Rowe.
Well, there you go. Brian Myers and Swoggle.
Yeah, man. Another new one of my new best friends.
Well, we're joined here now on the wrap-up show by Swoggle, who is now also my co-host along with Pedro. And we are now joined. Well, Pedro's stepping out. So my co-host Swoggle. We are joined by Raymond Rowe, who did advance to the final in the tournament. We watched you here. You said it yourself. Josh Alexander. He was a capable, I guess, victor, so to speak. If there was one person you were going to lose to in that final, that was the man.
I have to ask one.
You go ahead.
Never mind, there's pizza.
Oh, it's going for the pizza.
All right.
So that's why Swoggle is my new best friend. Hey, save me some pizza. Fuck. If there was somebody I was going to lose to tonight, it had to be Alexander. In that finals, there was no way I would have killed myself taking out Alex Daniels. Like, I would have easily sacrificed myself, my own chance of winning before I let somebody like Alex Daniels win. Like, tonight's about more than wrestling. It's about, Mike and Hannah and JT's name, JT's legacy. He meant a lot to Cleveland. He helped start so many guys, even if he didn't train. He didn't train me personally, but he helped start me in the business. You know what I mean? Cleveland All-Pro was where I started becoming who I am. Like, JT, honest to God, like when I started, and you'll remember this, I was Raymond Wright.
Oh, that's great.
You know what I mean?
Awesome
like all-American, clean-cut boy, dancing to the fucking ring, doing stupid thumbs up. Like, people, and it was JT. JT grabbed me and said, man, why are you like the scariest dude I know outside the ring and a total wimp inside the ring? And I had no idea. I was just, I had my boots, my singlet, man, by God, I was a wrestler. And I didn't think about anything else like that, and it was JT that was like, man, just be yourself. Ray Rowe is way scarier than the wrestler version of Ray Rowe. And he gave me the confidence, and he started that evolution to bring the reality and bring who I really am and bring the amateur wrestling background and bring, all of these elements of, where I came from and who I am and stuff like that to the ring. And the more and more of myself that I've become, over this journey and really become who I am, it's that's, I can credit that directly back to JT. And it's, JT's a guy that, he lived. He ended up, when he moved out of Cleveland, he moved into North Olmsted. My parents moved to North Olmsted. Like, I would come home from the gym, and JT would call me, and I'd go knock on his door at 11 p.m., and we just talk for 3 hours about wrestling and about life and about, whatever. Like, he wasn't a wrestling guy to me. You know, like he was a really good friend, and a lot of people don't know that because, you know, sometimes we weren't always on the same show, or wrestling politics being what the stupid thing they were. You know what I mean? Like we weren't always on the same side of the fence. But JT and I always got along. JT and I never had a problem. I love the guy, and you know, it breaks my heart about what happened. You know, him going and leaving the kids and all that stuff. So it was just. It's crazy, like, so to be a part of these tournaments and be here, and like I said, it's more than wrestling to me, and I don't care about what anybody else thinks. To me, it means something.
These tournaments have a way, based upon how they're booked by the guys at AIW, of bringing about sometimes dream scenarios for wrestlers. And this is an amazing crowd always at AIW. And there was a special moment tonight, and it was actually a round 2 match, and this crowd was electric. For a moment in a fatal 4-way match, but it was just 2 men standing in the ring, Raymond Rowe and Dan the Beast Severn. And the roof was about to pop off, half the crowd chanting Rowe, half the crowd chanting Beast. Touch on what that had to feel like for you.
Remember that time I wrestled Dan Severn? I mean, like, there's literally no words to describe that. When you're a kid, there are certain people who you watch and you wrestle, you know, I was fascinated by mixed martial arts when we were kids. You know what I mean? It was brand new. It was something that had never been seen before. And then as Dan transitioned into wrestling and back to MMA and wrestling and back to MMA, you know what I mean? Like, there are guys that transcend a genre. He is a combat sports, legend in every sense of the word. He's a pioneer. He was doing it before it was big business. He was just doing it because the man liked to fight. Right. And he made a business and made a career out of it before people were doing that. Like, other guys who were doing that still had to carry full-time jobs. Dan just fought, you know what I mean, professionally all over the world, and he set standards and he broke barriers, and he was an NWA champion and then wrestling with the WWF at the time. Like, how was that possible? But Dan Severn did it. Like, no one was ever in charge of Dan except Dan. So to be in the ring with a guy like that, who I've literally watched since, UFC 5.
Yeah. Then
I'm in the ring with him, going toe-to-toe. We're doing Greco-Roman pummels, you know what I mean? Like, trying to get the better. It's mind-blowing. Like, it's really crazy. One of those things that it's like, man, that happened. And it's one of those things that I know that perspective-wise I'm going to look back on and go, man, do you remember that time? Like, that's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, Ray. Well, thank you for joining us. And last year's winner, this year in the finals. You got a bright future ahead of you with Ring of Honor. Thanks for joining us here.
Thanks, buddy. All
right, man. Take it easy. I'll see you down the road.
Thank you, sir.
All right, well, we've gone over a half hour now. I think it's time we wrap up the wrap-up show. So what a great weekend for wrestling. For more information on AIW Wrestling, check us out at AIWrestling.com. We got to go. We're out of time. Thanks a lot, everybody.
And congratulations, of course, and short, if we haven't said it before, Josh Alexander, the Walking Weapon, your winner of the 2016 JT Lightning Invitational Tournament.
All right, thank you.